think as women, we can often be our own worst enemies to each other, like in small ways and in really big ways. And it keeps us so divided. And we don't even realize that it's happening and that we are participating in the system that keeps us divided. I think as a woman in your 20s, at some point, you've probably seen or been on the receiving end of one of those side eyes that girls give each other, or you've given it yourself. Scary hours. Like, women can be really scary to each other. Or you walk into a room and or you walk where there's a group of girls already and you're with your group of friends. There's all this tension, unspoken but like mutually understood tension, between one group of girls and another group of girls. Or you see a woman dressed a certain kind of way, it's often other women that have the most to say. Look at that girl, look at what she's wearing, look at what she's doing, did you hear that? It's often other women leading those kinds of conversations. Even when you look at what looks like small things like pick me shaming, I don't know what you would call that, but when women are being ridiculed for their pick me behavior, that's another thing. But when you think about who's ridiculing them, who's mocking them, who's belittling them, who is leading the charge against women, it's other women. Like, guys don't even have to stand up and be like, oh, she's a pick me. Girls will do it for them. Right, we're already separating each other. We continue separating each other. Back in the early 2000s, it was slut shaming. That was a really big thing. And it was women leading that. Women still do that. Now it's pick me thing. But once again, it's like you get women constantly finding ways to separate and divide each other. And now you have girls who are super concerned with being different and not being like the other girl. And once again, so much division amongst us as women. And so now every single person, every single system in the world that has an interest in keeping women down and keeping them insecure and keeping them confused about who they are and in keeping them questioning their worth and their value doesn't even have to do the work themselves, because other women will do it for them. The system just perpetuates itself. And as women, we're so busy fighting and competing with each other that we don't have the space to actually come together and then make the changes in the world that we want to see. So when you've been told again and again by society that there's only so many places available in this space for women, either there's so many jobs available in here for women, there's only so many seats at this table available for women, there's only so many good quality men available for women, it's women who must wait to be picked while men or other people do the picking. When you've been told for so long that you begin to believe it yourself, that there's only so much room for you in any place you want to be in, and that there's only so many good things that you can get access to, it only makes sense that when you see other women, you only see competition. And there's rarely a woman now, today, who doesn't have this complex in her somewhere, this thing against other women in certain situations. It's just a very natural result of having grown up in the society that we've grown up in and being conditioned the way we've been conditioned. But now it's time to choose differently and act differently, because if we want the world to treat us differently, we have to start treating each other differently. We have to start responding to each other differently and reacting to each other differently, and stop seeing each other as competition and start seeing each other as the community that we're supposed to be, so that we can actually see the world that we want to see. But being a girl's girl isn't just about being a girl's girl to your girls, to your chosen women. It's about being a girl's girl to any girl, to every girl. It means that you walk into a space and you decide that you're going to make that space as welcoming, as safe, as happy for other women as you possibly can. Because not just for the woman that you've chosen or the few girls that you've chosen, because nobody else is going to stand up for us as women. We have to stand up for each other, and we can't stand up for ourselves if we're standing against each other. And another one of the side effects of this women against women, girls against girls thing that we have is that you have a lot of women in relationships that they have no business being in, with men that they have no business being with. Because often, if you don't have a community around you of women, when you don't have deep and fulfilling relationships, when you don't have true sisterhood with other women around you, your deepest connection ends up being with the man that you're with. And that's a problem for many, many different reasons. But it's like there's always a direct relationship between a woman who's in a relationship that she shouldn't be in and the amount of close and deep and healed relationships with women that she has around her. So the sooner as women as well we learn to be girls to each other, the sooner we'll also liberate ourselves from some of these relationships and connections that we should not have around us.